how to eliminate EMF from your environment with ease. With all the technological advances, the rollout of 5G, you may have been finding yourself asking that very question. If this sounds familiar, then you are in the right place because I'm here to help answer that question for you in today's video. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Dr. Kelly Shockley, Doctor of Cause, Chiropractic, board certified in sports medicine, and specialized in clinical nutrition. In this video, we're going to be going over one of the most controversial subjects within the EMF world. This is one you don't want to miss. Then we'll cover the most effective ways to reduce EMF within your home and even at the office. It's more doable than you think. And finally, I'll be sharing with you the best way to improve your electrical sensitivity so you're not taken out by the electrical world you're living in. Let's dive right on in. Now, you might be wondering, what is the most controversial subject within the EMF world? It's the one around electromagnetic hypersensitivity, also known as EHS. This is also known as electrical sensitivity for short. Now, electrical sensitivity it's poorly understood. It's not very well defined. And part of why it's so controversial is because it presents differently in every person that is dealing with this sensitivity. So it's hard to really pinpoint and put a thumb on. But the World Health Organization does recognize it as a real issue, real sensitivity. And there is research that suggests maybe 2.5% to as much as at least 20% of people are dealing with this electromagnetic hypersensitivity. Now, if you're curious about what would one be experiencing about electrical sensitivity and how would I even know if that is my issue? Don't worry, I'm going to share those symptoms with you. Now, there is full body, widespread types of symptoms that can occur. And some of those would include fatigue, tiredness, dizziness, having issues concentrating or focusing. Different types of digestive problems seem to be very common within this group of people who are dealing with a sensitivity. Nausea, and then also potentially heart palpitations. But there's another system that seems to show symptoms more readily in some of these people dealing with electrical sensitivity, and that's the skin. I personally have actually had patients where we determined that this actually was the underlying cause. They presented with these very bizarre rashes. There was redness, there was itching, it was slightly elevated, but it didn't have hives. There were no actual bumps. There was no indication that this was from a bite or a different type of wound. They even had a little bit of tingling sensation and burning sensation within these rashes. And this was a husband and wife who their home that they had lived in for years, everything was fine, but they had a tower behind their home. And what they noticed over the course of the past year and a half, I think it was a year and a half, is that 5G tower was installed behind them. And once everything came online, it wasn't something that they put together right away, mind you. But all of a sudden, both of them started dealing with rashes in their front of their wrist, the back of their neck, in their elbows, on their back. Nothing that looked like any other particular pattern of other dermatological issues we would know of. And we went through the rigmarole trying to figure out, what have you changed? With anything in your diet, anything in your laundry, your hygiene products, they had changed nothing. And all of a sudden, I don't remember what made them dawn upon this was this tower had presented itself and was turned on. And that was the timing of when this rash actually showed up. Now, they had some of these other biological symptoms too, but it was the rash that was the most significant. And ultimately, for many different reasons, not just because of this, they ended up moving further out, kind of more towards the country, no 5G tower in their backyard. And just by doing that, neither one of them have this dermatological presentation any longer. It's really kind of fascinating. So again, part of electrical sensitivity or hypersensitivity is hard to diagnose because it can show up differently among each person. It's unique to you. I will say that the other people that I have been able to kind of decide that electrical EMF, is part of what's triggering their health issues. What I have seen more commonly are these digestive types of problems and then the fatigue. So in my present population, that is how that presents more commonly in my office. I'm really super curious. Before this video, or even now with just sharing with you some of what these symptoms look like, do you think you might be sensitive to EMF or EMR? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm really curious to just continue to build on and see how many people seem to be having challenges with this technological world that we're living in. So drop those responses down in the comments. Any questions you have, any feedback you have, I do read every single comment. So please put whatever you're thinking down in the comments, and I will be getting back to you and looking at those later. Awesome. Now we're going to get into some of the most effective ways to decrease your exposure to EMF, EMR at home, like without question, and even being able to take this into the workplace where you don't have full control. Now, the first thing you really need to focus in on is none of us are ever going to be able to live in a bubble. We're not going to be able to protect ourselves from every ounce of EMF we might be being exposed to, just like we can't protect ourselves from every single different toxin in the environment we're being exposed to. And living life in a bubble would mean that there's no quality either. So it's not about it being perfect. In fact, thankfully, our bodies are amazing. They're resilient. They have this innate ability to heal, and they do it in a non-perfect world. Okay. This is the same when I give people guidance on dietary types of solutions to whatever they may be dealing with. It is not expected that any of this needs to be done 100% in order for you to get the benefit of doing it. Any type of stride you can make in the right direction is going to start decreasing your exposure to EMF, and ultimately that is going to benefit you. So do what you can. Take baby steps. Don't go home and we got to clear all of this stuff out and do this on full tilt right now. Otherwise, we're not going to make any progress. What you'll find is you'll get overwhelmed. And then more than likely, like most people, you won't be doing anything at all. And then you're just still going to be living stressed and being exposed to EMF that maybe you don't necessarily have to be being exposed to. So as I go through and I share with you some of the different options and ideas for how do you start decreasing some of your exposure, find what resonates with you, what sounds like it would be easy to apply right away, and start there. Then maybe next week or a couple of weeks, you add in another component into this. And before you know it, within the next year, comparing to now, life could look very different, and you could have made some drastic changes, but you did it over a gradual period of time that it didn't feel drastic. Okay, so that is key to all of this. All right, let's figure out what are these solutions for decreasing exposure. One area of exposure that actually emits quite a lot of EMF that you may not be aware of are the LED and the fluorescent lights. Now, I'm sitting here in my office and I've got a couple of different lights on just purely to help with the video, but ultimately I have a whole wall of windows and I face east. And so we'll see what happens in the winter, but I hate fluorescent lights. I prefer never to have them on just because they bother me anyway. I might actually have some of the sensitivity that shows up more in a headache presentation for me. So what I would suggest at home, where you have full control of this, where here at the office, not completely full control, is replacing fluorescent or LED lights with the simple incandescent, or even the halogen lights are actually safe to use. And then use natural light as much as you possibly can. You're not going to get EMF from that. So open up your windows, let the sunlight in, use natural light as best as you possibly can. Something else we can do is all of these wireless devices that we use, obviously not being a good example here, use the wired version instead. Wireless is awfully convenient, yes, but anymore now you can get keyboards that have long cables, same thing, mouses that have long cables, and you can decrease the amount of EMF because anything that is using Bluetooth is going to be emitting more EMF than its wired counterpart. I just bought my son a pair of noise canceling headphones that happen to be wireless, though this is why I got them. They have a wired option. I wanted this because my son does homeschooling here at the office. I needed noise canceling because try to keep him from being distracted while he's here and patients come and go. But my brother looked at me, he's like, I can't believe you got him wireless because of how we believe and what our thought process is. I'm like, no, he will never use them in a Bluetooth environment. He will always use the wired option. So same thing with like our headsets. I mean, I have AirPods for my phone. I rarely use them. Okay. But the smarter, more intelligent, less EMF exposing option would to be using your headphones that actually have the wires. Okay. Sure, it's not as convenient, but if EMF is your concern, that's another great way to start reducing that. You can also make your bedroom an EMF safe haven. My bedroom specifically, the only electronic that is ever there is my phone, and it's because I use it as my alarm. At the end of the day, before I go to bed, I turn off Wi-Fi, I turn off Bluetooth, really I put it into airplane mode. So nothing is happening. There's no data, there's no updates, there's no notifications, like there's nothing being transmitted. And it's not right next to my bed, it's further away. And it purely functions as my alarm clock. And then of course I'll turn all that junk back on the next day, but it's the only thing that's there. Okay. There's no TV, there's no other electronics. Oh, I do have a salt lamp in my room, which is helpful for, they say, negating some of the EMF. In our clinic here, we have salt lamps. One's actually behind my computer on the other side, so you can't really see it right now. But we have salt lamps in each one of our rooms. We don't run them 24/7. We just run them when we're actually in that room. And then adding in plants are also helpful for just dealing with, gosh, they're supposed to be what helps produce oxygen. So why wouldn't you want more plants in your life? But there are specific plants that can help negate some of the EMF. Something else that is really important that has huge, profound effects, there's a lot more research coming out, is making sure you go barefoot every day in the grass or in the dirt. I mean, especially if you live in a city, it's really hard to find grass or dirt. You can find a lot of asphalt and a lot of cement, but not grass and dirt. So try to go barefoot, get grounded, get yourself connected back to nature. Anytime you're using Wi-Fi or any Wi-Fi enabled device, you're also increasing that exposure to EMF. So yes, this is a Garmin. Yes, it can sync with my phone, and it has a Wi-Fi feature in it. I have the Wi-Fi feature turned off, and that's what you can do as well. When I leave my office, I turn the Wi-Fi off on my phone. My phone is never near me when I'm working in my office. It's normally on my desk and I'm on the other side. I don't have all the data turned on either. So you literally can go into my phone and the only thing that runs off of data would be the phone function. Okay. And when I leave my office, I turn the Wi-Fi function off so it's not constantly trying to connect to some other Wi-Fi device. Everything at the house that has Wi-Fi capabilities, if you keep those turned off, or if you don't have a problem with turning them on and off, you will help limit exposure that way. I do strongly encourage people not to use a laptop right in their lap or to carry their phone on their person, because again, it's just that much closer contact, that much closer proximity to your body, and your body is interacting with whatever it's emitting and transmitting at that point in time. And when it comes to protecting you with EMF, there are all kinds of different companies out there that have created technologies. Some I could say I believe work, others I have not personally, explored, so I can't speak for them. But there are different types of components you can get that help block some of the EMF, whether it's directly in an outlet or if you have something that more can act as a total shield for your household. Do some research, read what the thought process is, what the research is behind those technologies before you start implementing them. There is absolutely nothing wrong with utilizing them if it makes sense and it looks like it's legit. But just decreasing what I've shared with you right now is going to limit your exposure and should really help. And of a lot of those things, you can do many of those at the office as well. So start here. And then look for new ways once you've implemented these and it's part of your daily, regimen. Look for other ways that might make sense to decrease exposure or to create like protective zone around your house and explore that and see what resonates and what makes sense for you. Now, before I get into the best way to kind of like strengthen your suit of armor and protect you or increase your electrical sensitivity so that you're not being taken out by technology, I just want to remind you to click the subscribe button down below, hit that like button, turn the notifications on. That way you never miss out on a future episode. I am regularly producing videos for you, teaching you how to take back control of your health. That way you can achieve what I like to call total body mastery. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button while you're down there, and turn those notifications on, and you will be set. Awesome. What are some of the most effective lifestyle factors that you can implement to help improve your electrical sensitivity? Let's get into those right now. One of the first ones is exercise, and specifically out in nature where you can get away from all of the technology. This actually is something that works really well to relieve a lot of the symptoms people are experiencing from having that electromagnetic hypersensitivity. I think a lot of this stems from the fact, like, especially if you can get out into nature, you're being more exposed to, more oxygen. Heck, even Asia has forests that they've designated as therapy forests because there's so many health benefits that come to you when you're exposing yourself to nature and disconnecting from technology and the chaos of the world. But even still, just exercising makes everything about the body work that much better. If you have time in the evenings, maybe a couple of times a week, another strategy that has been really effective is soaking in a tub of Epsom salts. You could even soak in Himalayan or Celtic salt if you prefer to use those salts over Epsom. It has a way to help neutralize, balance, whole junk from your system as well. So you can add that into your weekly regimen too. Taking good nutrition. Of those, some of the ones that I find most important are like your omega-3 fatty acids. Those are just the building blocks of the nervous system, and it's needed in every single cell of the body. And most people are deficient in them. So if we give our body what it needs in order to actually repair itself and function at a high level, you will have a higher threshold to the world that you're living in. In addition to that, another one of my favorite go-tos is magnesium. Magnesium body will use as a transporter for like helping purge stuff from its system that is not suitable. But it's in every single cell of the body. It's required for 80% of the different chemical reactions that happen all day long. And guess what? Majority of people are deficient in it as well. So adding in magnesium, spreading it out so your body has time to actually absorb it, you could get a lot of benefit from, and again, raise that threshold. If you had to focus in on one area in the body to really try to bolster and improve your threshold to technology, I would focus in on the gut. So doing things that improve gut health, like consuming fermented foods, eating really good, healthy fats, lots of vegetables, clean proteins, minimal amounts of grains and sugars and processed foods actually would do you really well. It's one of our main suits of armor. So if we can keep it healthy and functioning correctly, it also is our first line of defense. Now, while EMF and that, it doesn't go through the mouth and get into the bloodstream the same way that most other things do, still having this first line of defense functioning at a high level is going to help your body have so much more threshold at a higher level than if you weren't doing this at all. There are a multitude of other things you can do, and really they all come back to how do we need to be living in order to support optimal levels of health. We need to be sleeping well at night. We need to exercise. We need to eat right. We need to manage our stress. We need to decompress. We need to detach and get unplugged from technology. More importantly, get unplugged from technology. And by doing that consistently, your threshold comes up and your sensitivity will come down. Here's the other aspect of this, though. If you really want to put this whole process on full tilt, being able to address the underlying cause of why you're feeling the way you do. Maybe it has to do with electrical sensitivity. Maybe it has something to do with, some other health-related issue that can create these same types of symptoms. Ultimately, if you're not testing, you're guessing. If you can evaluate your whole level of health and look for different imbalances and deficiencies, look for infection, inflammation, toxicity, you name it, then you really have true certainty of what is your current level of health and what do you need to do to start improving it. So if you're not testing, you're guessing. And there's a whole other thought process and explanation for this that I'm going to save you for today's video, but I'd like to invite you to the description down below where we can continue on this conversation. If you click on the description, so it expands, the description right below the video, look for my free 5-day health challenge. Now, it doesn't take 5 days, okay? And it's not really a challenge. This is where I explain to you what am I meaning by if you're not testing or guessing. There is a specific type of testing. It's comprehensive. It's not the testing you're going to get from your MD. It's not available from anybody who's taking insurance, really. No, it's not expensive either, but comprehensive testing. Being able to understand in a different way than anybody else in medical is when they look at testing, what do those results mean? Creating a plan that is specific to you so that we are addressing exactly what's going on in your life and being able to handle that so that we're bolstering up your health, we're increasing that threshold so you won't be taken out by electricity or toxins or stress, you name it. And then how do you optimize that? So I'd love for you to come join me on the 5-day health challenge. You can get started right away. Just click that button down in the link below and you will be well on your way. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next video. God bless.